A certifiable regenerative riff is growing. We will discuss. Champagne and Bordeaux aren't just surviving, they're popping corks. Here's why one leader says the future is still bubbly. Hey, we've talked about the problems the wine industry faces in California, France, and Australia. Now it seems as though Argentina is joining the party. Not to keep this a downer, but hey, the DNA test is in and you are the father. So just like Primitivo and Zinfandel, we got a new grape, something like that. Anyway, all that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Actually, it's more like the DNA testing where, oh, we're brothers and we didn't know it. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Hey, welcome to episode 86 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, March 9th, 2026. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey. And if you're not familiar with us, we are your number one source for Corkage fee information, as well as winery reviews, wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and oh, so much more. And with that, let's get on to this week's wine news. All right, over at the drinks business, Andrew Neither is reporting that the whole regenerative viticulture movement has experienced internal friction over people that say it should be organic and regenerative, and you have to have organic certifications before you can be regenerative, and you're not really regenerative unless you're organic. And it's just the kids are fighting. It's just a mess. But from the article, leading viticultural authority Jamie Good has slammed the insistence of some regenerative bodies on growers also becoming organic. Speaking this week in Rousson at a forum hosted by the regenerative winemaker Domaine Lafage, Good said, if we tie regenerative viticulture to organics, it's finished. It will be a small, fancy club for people to feel good about themselves. It's bullshit. This man is talking to me. The ROC, Regenerative Organic Certification approach, is nonsense. Regenerative viticulture has attracted huge interest over recent years, especially in California. It focuses on improving soil health and the soil's level of organic matter, using methods of cover crops, mulching, integration of grazing animals, vineyards, and not tilling the soil. This is a crazy little debate. These are basically two paths to essentially the same thing, and the fighting over this is a little insane. I've got to agree with Mr. Good here. It takes a lot to go organic and regenerative, but if you want to go regenerative, basically you're pulling up crops, you're pulling up vines that you've been basically spraying with pesticides forever, and you're turning it over and you're letting it sit for quite a long time and doing a whole bunch of things to it to get it back into a nice shape, and then, farming it properly with the cover crops and all the rest of the stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see this little rift occur. We will see what happens, but, kids will fight. And moving on, also with the drinks business, Stanislas Thiénot is confident in the future of champagne. Patrick Schmidt explores why he thinks he's the head of Arbitis, the Thiénot family estates group. He remains upbeat. He thinks that Champagne and Bordeaux are great despite the global downturn. All is going to be rosy, and we need more stories like this, or at least more people who are mildly delusional. We're not sure what it is. But anyway, from the article, finally, he sees the end to the oversupply situation that has plagued Bordeaux in recent years, following a sharp reduction in production caused by large-scale vineyard removals. We are now producing less than we have been selling over the past 2 years, and although we are at a low point in terms of sales, we are still selling more than we produce, and that's because the Bordeaux vineyard area has moved from 120,000 hectares before COVID to about 80,000 today. Indeed, he sees Bordeaux facing a national shortage of wine in the near future when the region's overstock has been absorbed. Finally, he stated, further expressing his optimism for the region, Bordeaux has centuries of history. You cannot erase that in just a few years. Actually, I agree with him. We talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago on the show, where, they're thinking that there's going to be a shortage in Napa now because so much has been ripped out and because so much is left on the vine to rot. So it's kind of crazy, but here we are. The ship seems to maybe be righting itself. So we will see. And moving on, well, we talk about all the problems going on, and it turns out Argentina is now facing a deep crisis itself. Over at the United Press International, Bañales Munoz reports that Argentina's wine sector is during the most severe crisis in over 20 years, falling exports, they've got collapsed domestic consumption. Sound familiar? And sustained economic instability are pressuring producers across the country. From the article, iconic producers such as Norton and Bianchi have begun debt renegotiations or turned to legal mechanisms to avoid bankruptcy after accumulating large unpaid obligations. The financial deterioration points to structural problems that affect much of the wine value chain. Rising competition has compounded the problem. In the past 15 years, wine supply has grown faster than demand. Jimenez noted that the U.S. supermarket can offer wines from about 2,000 different wineries with more than 5,000 labels. At home in Argentina, and the reason they talk about the U.S. there is we are the main consumer of their wines. So at home, the domestic market has also deteriorated sharply. Wine consumption fell 12.5% in November 2025, according to data from Argentina's National Institute of Viticulture. Economist Elena Alonso, co-founder of the consulting firm Emerald Capital, told UPI that falling wine consumption largely reflects macroeconomic pressures. She cited high inflation, declining purchasing power, and years of stagnating real incomes. So the problems in wine persist globally, and no one seems to be able to escape them. But it's been coming on for a while. The tariffs, Argentina got a little relief on the tariffs because there's some love between the two countries there, or at least the two leaders, but still evidently are not great. And we're going to wrap up the news with kind of it seems to happen all the time, but wine business is reporting a significant discovery in the world of viticulture. Basically, there's a Turkish grape called Kolorko, and it's been identified to actually be the same as Hungary's ferment. So they're the same. We see this with other grapes all the time. They run genetic testings. Like someone goes over and goes, man, this grape looks an awful lot like this other grape. And boy, it sure does taste the same too. And it's got the same properties. And then they run some DNA testing. And sometimes they're variants, but in this case, they're the same exact grape. This is kind of interesting. So how did this happen? How do you end up basically Turkey and Hungary? They're close, but anyway, I love this explanation and what they think the explanation is as to how this grape traveled there. From the article, the most plausible historical explanation for this shared identity dates back to the early 18th century. After his defeat in 1708 against the Habsburgs, Prince Francis II, leader of the Hungarian independence movement, lived in exile in Poland, France, and finally in the Ottoman Empire, where he settled in Terkadag. Go with that. Accompanied by many Hungarian nobles, although no written record confirms the transport of vine cuttings, this historical context provides a compelling framework for the introduction of ferment into the Ottoman Thrace. So there you go. We've got two grapes that are the same, but happens all the time. Good to know, but no one will change the name though. You know, Durif, Petit Syrah, same grape, different names. That's what we need. More confusion in the wine world. Or you just go to France where you just got another region, you know. Don't know the region, and you won't know the grape. So let's make it more complicated for people. Maybe that's why people don't consume wine. They have no idea what's in the freaking bottle. Anyway, let's move on with that to our wine and winery of the week. Alrighty then, we're going to go to Dragonette Cellars. This is in Los Olivos, California, Santa Barbara area. We give this 5 stars. It's got some really nice little views. Reservations are recommended. There's some indoor and outdoor seating. It's in the down toward the Los Olivos tasting area. They produce really small lot wines. I highly recommend you do the private tasting. You know, you've got two brothers, John and Steve Dragonette, alongside Brandon Sparks-Gills, who's the winemaker. They are making some killer wines over here. It was one of the better tastings I've had in a long time. We've got a review of some of their wines as well, but I will tell you, this is kind of a standout, is their Dragonette MJM Syrah. They only made 475 cases of this, and it is killer in about $49, something like that. So anyway, several of their wines we're checking out, and they're fantastic. So, and now on to our wine of the week. We're going to do the 2020 Vigorello Rosso Toscana. This is from San Felice. This is a cool wine. It is a blend of a wine, and it has the Punatello grape in it as well, which, if you don't know, this is a lost grape. I think we've talked about it before, but it's a really interesting grape that was saved over there. So this is Punatello, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon. It's got a little splash of Petit Verdot in it, 24 months in French barriques. It's just a beautiful wine at $56. So well worth checking this out. If you can get your hands on a bottle, I highly recommend it. And with that, let's go to our restaurant and Corkage of the week. So this is one of those strange things that I'm like, how in the world had I never been to this restaurant? I am from Southern California. I spent the last 40 years of my life in South Orange County, and it just so happens I was down for Christmas and came to this restaurant called 21 Oceanfront basically in Newport Beach on Balboa Island. And man, is this place nice. Just old school. You can kind of see from the pictures here. It's got the old booths, kind of just a really nice look to it all across the board. The service is outstanding. The food is outstanding. It's a steak and seafood place. It's got a great little groovy bar scene with some live music. They've got a nice wine list. There literally is just nothing not to like about this place. So if you're down in Balboa Island, I would definitely recommend you get a reservation at 21 Oceanfront. It is well worth it. I'll be going back. And Corkage fee is $50 per bottle. They've got a 2-bottle backs, so not bad at all. But I didn't find their wine list to be that overpriced as well. So it's a winner all the way around. That's going to wrap up another episode of This Week Uncorked. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. And your favorite podcast app. And hey, check out that interview we did with Steve Mathiasen below. I think you'll enjoy it. Take care. Bye.